masking, emotional flooding, and difficulty processing emotions. Hi, I'm Brett the Audi Boss, and on this channel we talk about ADHD and autism and AuDHD in the workplace and wherever my hyper curiosity takes us. Today I want to talk about something that at first I thought maybe I was experiencing more. I thought maybe this was happening to me more frequently, but then no, it's not that it's happening more frequently to me. It's that I'm recognizing when my body is doing it and when the triggers set me up. So specifically talking about emotional flooding. This is something that can happen when you're in the middle of a conflict. It could be a trigger that gets set off. It could be something that just kind of comes up out of nowhere. I know for me specifically, the way it's been happening more frequently is if I'm having a sort of a perceived conflict or frankly a misunderstanding, because one of my biggest triggers is that I've worked really hard to be understood in the language that I use and the way that I present myself, and then someone has then misunderstood me, and not only misunderstood me, but has taken that in a completely different direction and is now irritated or angry or, coming back at me with frustration or upset or something. This is how it comes up for me. I've been triggered in some way. My nervous system or my mind has picked up on some kind of a threat. The nervous system essentially is feeling a threat of some kind, and how it defines a threat is not, it's however my body, and threat's kind of a heavy word. I can just kind of be, on my own, working quietly or working peacefully or going into a meeting that I think is one thing. And then all of a sudden the conversation in a meeting or a message or an email or something completely throws me off because it is something that is triggering of some kind. It's not just a normal misunderstanding that's easily managed. And then this is sort of somebody's upset. They've gone in a completely different direction. They're completely misunderstanding. And it's something that will set me off. And what happens is, and that's just one example, it can come up in a variety of different, more heavier ways. So once that conflict or that trigger has happened, and I was in a sort of calm state before, then what happens is my body suddenly becomes overflowing. Flooding is the word, with emotions. And because of ADHD and autism, there's a bunch of things happening all at once. ADHD part of me is being flooded with a million thoughts. What's happening? How did we get here? What conversations led to this? Did I say something? Did somebody else say something? Is there missing context that I don't have? What is happening? How do I regulate? How do I get more information? But the problem is that because I'm flooded with so many emotions and I'm feeling at the same time physically, anxiety has spiked, blood pressure is going up, heartbeat's racing, I'm breathing heavier. I feel courses of anxiety just flowing through my body, and I need to get up, I need to move, I need to work out that anxiety, because for me, whenever I start to feel those types of anxious feelings, I need to move, I need to walk, I need to purge them from my system. So when I'm feeling these emotional overwhelms, my brain kind of goes into kind of a shutdown, but not really. I'm kind of being flooded so much with so many thoughts and emotions and bodily sensations at the same time that now I'm not processing. I'm no longer hearing the rest of the conversation, or I'm not picking up on as many things. But, and this is really critical, I'm still trying to mask, because masking is such a default mode for me in the way that my AuDHD, my autism and my ADHD shows up. I'm still trying to hold on to that mask as best I can, and I'm not trying to let any of this show, but I might start to leak out some defensive because I'm upset, or I'm trying to get control back of myself or the situation or understanding. The reason why flooding is such a big deal for someone with autism, ADHD, AuDHD, I can't necessarily filter out like a neurotypical person would or neurotypical brain would. When you're being flooded with all those emotions, they're all coming at you. As we experience everything in the world, as people with autism and ADHD, we experience everything all at once. So our brains can't necessarily put those things in their proper places, like a filing cabinet or a bucket, as we move through the day with anything, which is why we're always so, it's a flood of everything. Then when there's a flood of emotions, in particular past emotions, past traumas, triggers, and things like that, it's even more hard, even more difficult to put those things in their places so that you can function and get back to and get a grasp on it, all those different things. And then at the same time, trying to master it all. While I'm trying to process all those thoughts, maybe I'm asking questions, maybe I'm trying to figure things out, maybe I'm not hearing more of the conversation. Or if it's an email or a message or something, maybe I haven't completely processed the rest of the email or the rest of the message or the text or whatever it is, because I'm so flooded now with all these thoughts, all these emotions, all these things crashing in at one time, and I can't necessarily process anything else, and I've got to work through whatever this is. I'm also someone who needs to verbal process. So I need like a safe person that I can then turn to and talk to be like, can I get you to read this? Can I get you to explain what just happened here? Can I get you to like, help me understand, help me process so that I can process and work through what I've got to do with my brain. And I need somebody to help me kind of calm down quite a bit as well. And it's a terrible feeling because I'm feeling like it feels like an anxiety attack. And in some ways it is because of how my body is reacting. But at the same time, it's just like, maybe I've just completely misunderstood something, which is entirely possible. But then I start gaslighting myself and there's all of that. Then there's more connecting thoughts that are happening. And with me, I have OCD. So there's other OCD triggers that are coming up. In many cases, these things are triggering random trauma from over the years of like, oh, this situation is very similar to this situation, or the way this person is talking or speaking to me or treating me is very similar to how I struggled with this situation over here that was really hard, and now I'm reliving those feelings in this immediate moment. It's a lot. It's a lot. At that moment, trying to get steady ground underneath me so that I can kind of like get myself to a place where I can either get out of that situation, get more context, or go find my safe person, or go process in a way that I can, or specifically now complete the stress cycle. Because now that I'm stressed, I've got to go through the stress cycle and get to the other side before I can calm down and manage all this. And again, brain is processing so much, nervous system's processing so much, body's feeling a bazillion different sensations in that moment. And I may not necessarily be able to understand what the body sensations are telling me. Okay, so finally it ends, the conversation, I get away from the text message, whatever the thing is, it's gotten to a point where it's more or less over now. And now I have to like get up. For me, I have to get up, I have to walk, or I have to go process. I start pacing. You know, I might revisit a conversation. I may revisit rereading something. I might take some notes about what just happened. I'm also spiraling at this point. I can't stop thinking about it. I'm spinning on this thing. And it's that spiral, it's that spinning that kind of keeps chewing up energy. The critical thing for me, though, is I need to not like go send a text or go send an email to the person who maybe set that off or something like that, because I could make it worse, or I may not have processed all the thing that they've tried to say or do with me. And so I have to kind of keep all of that in check. So it's best to sort of just get out of the situation as best you can. Go for a walk, listen to music, go do something, but I've got to complete the stress cycle in some form. I've got to go drink some water. I've got to go, for me, I need to specifically move my body. I have to physically move to process it out. And I need to talk to somebody, and I need to talk to somebody who I can kind of like just get it all out. And then once I finally get it all out, I can start to kind of get to the other side. It's like I've got to complete that process to get to the other side of like calming down, coming back down to the other side, and then getting perspective again. And then even once I do get onto the other side of the stress cycle, like I've completed the stress cycle, I've got to the other side of the flooding's not happening anymore. But I'm shot. At this point, my brain is exhausted. My body is exhausted. It may take me the rest of the day or the afternoon or the morning, whatever it is, to just kind of finish that stress cycle completion. But then once you get to the other side, once I get to the other side, I'm exhausted and I can't think anymore, and I can't take in any more information because now my body has to rest. Now my body just wants to just go take a nap or go sleep or just go, because I've just used up all this energy, emotional, physical, all this energy, brain processing to do all of this stuff. And now I need to like go crash. The worst part about this is if maybe something triggered me that I didn't realize, maybe I misunderstood, or maybe the person didn't speak clearly, or the person who sort of set me off didn't give me enough context or something. And then once I get more context, more I get information, more about their intent for what they were trying to do, or we can have a more fruitful conversation. Then I get all that other context. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't need to react that way. My body didn't have to have that trigger. And that's the problem with this. It's not necessarily that I'm not intentionally responding that way. Sometimes it's just my body is just reacting, which is why it can be a trauma response in terms of why it can be a trigger, because it can set me off without me even realizing it. I may not want to be having that reaction. Of course, I don't want to have the reaction. It's exhausting. all of this to say, it's important to both know what those triggers are for myself. It's important to understand when these sensations and things are happening so that I can be present in the moment, acknowledge it, deal with it, manage it, and sort of figure out what to do and how I can quickly get to my safe person to talk or my verbal processing or to complete the stress cycle or continue doing the work of the stress cycle and all that sort of stuff. This is critically important for me as a manager because I want to be able to create a safe work environment and a colleague. You don't even have to be a manager for this, just to be a colleague or whoever, to create a safe work environment where this doesn't happen to people. Because, when it does happen to me, well, the rest of my workday is shot. I can't function properly. I can't think properly because even if I can come back from it, then I'm in a bit of a fog because I'm exhausted and I've gone through all that emotional stuff. It's why it's so important to choose our words carefully. It's why context matters so much. I mean, even as I'm saying this, these are things that set me off. If I don't have enough context, if someone's really harsh or rude to me, or if someone's very abrupt with me and, I don't know what's going on with them or what the context is. When we're managers in particular, and this is sort of the twist that I'm going to kind of throw at people, is it's important that we necessarily understand where some of our employees' anxiety points are. We don't need to necessarily know what their triggers are or their past traumas or, even the depths of what those things are. And it's not our responsibility to fix those things. But if as managers and colleagues, we're aware of what our coworkers or our employees, more or less what their anxieties are, then that means that we can handle these things more thoughtfully. When we need to have difficult conversations, when we need to have something that comes up, those conversations can be handled more thoughtfully, gently, with more context, with more nuance, with saying, hey, we're going to go have this conversation. This is how it's going to go. We're going to manage expectations, which is always my critical thing. Manage expectations. Lead with positive intent. Lead with questions. Ask questions for more curiosity. Enter with curiosity. Assume somebody else has positive intent as opposed to attacking. Let's get some more context in place. Let's figure out more of what actually happened. What are the more details? Maybe there's details that we're missing and nuance and context that we don't have that we got to get to the bottom of so that we can figure these things out. To me, those are critically important skills. Lead with curiosity, ask questions, assume positive intent. And if you find that you're around somebody who isn't like that, well, then that's a person I want to put some distance between me and them because they're not going to be somebody that I can work with. And they're not going to be somebody that I can be productive or have productive conversations with. As we come to work, we bring our whole selves to work. And every person is going to have different sensitivities and different awarenesses. And if we're just, more careful in our word choice, regardless of being aware if somebody's neurodivergent or not, or has past trauma or whatever it is, being more thoughtful, being more careful, asking more questions, being more curious, leading with positive intent, that always helps manage workplace situations a lot better. A little bit of a ramble. It's something I've been thinking about for a few weeks. I'm going to be talking to Carolyn McGuire in the next couple of weeks about their new book, Friendship Skills for Neurodivergent Adults, where she specifically talks about flooding and a variety of other different things about relationships with friendships with neurodivergent individuals and making friends. It was also inspired by a Substack writer, Bridget, who works in the space of neurodivergent social justice. I'll link to their post where they talk about a situation where this happened recently. And I've been processing this for a few weeks now, thinking about my own emotional flooding. And these two things sort of helped form my thinking and bring things back a little bit more, better speak to these feelings when they happen. So I hope that's been helpful. If it has, I hope you can like and subscribe because that really does help the channel grow. And if you haven't yet, please go check out my Substack where I'm posting all the time about a variety of different neurodivergent topics in the workplace and wherever my hyper curiosity is taking me. And I'm also working on an upcoming workbook about the things that drain us in the workplace and the things that spark us in the workplace. So if you've been wondering about how do I specifically address those things that are draining me, how do I identify those things, how do I identify those things that excite me in the workplace, maybe I want to grow within my specific role, maybe I want a different role in my organization, maybe I need a new job, maybe I need to go somewhere else, I need to go do something else, maybe you see something that somebody else is doing and you're like, I want to do that, or I want to know more about that thing. This workbook is designed to sort of help you figure out those things and then how to go speak to a manager or how to go through a performance review to sort of manage that. So I'm building that right now. I'm going to have that up for sale very, very soon. So be on the lookout for that. If you're curious about that, let me know in the comments below, and I'll follow up with you when the link is live. If you want to do coaching, my books are back open for coaching appointments. So if you're curious about coaching and want to know more, email is in my information or the link in my bio. And if you want me to come speak to an organization for any neurodivergent needs, let me know. I'm taking speaking engagements for workplace opportunities for ERGs, HR, organizations, whatever is necessary. And something new that I've just launched is if you ever want to do like micro coaching with me, I've started a Cameo account specifically for micro coaching. If you go to Cameo, you can find AuDHD on Cameo. And, you know, I'm not using it the way most people use it for like birthdays and things like that, although I'm happy to wish you a happy birthday. But if you have a workplace situation and you want to just do like a one-off Cameo where you just give me as much detail as possible, you know, and then I will send you back a video with my best possible thinking. Otherwise, you can also set up a one-on-one call. I could do one-off coaching where we just talk about one specific situation, or we can set up regular coaching environments. For a lot of people that I coach, some people just dip in and out as needed. Other people stay for a few weeks or a few months or a couple of years until they've got what they need, and then they move on. Or, you know, check out the link in my bio, or just let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please like and subscribe and check out some of the other videos while you're here.